All right, Nick, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals had a killer draft this year. I think they picked up a lot of playmakers, but there was one pick in particular a little bit later in the draft that we think is going to be very special for the Bengals.
Yeah, Miles, I agree with you 100%. I think Cincinnati fans will be really excited to hear about this specific new Bengal and what he can contribute to this football team. But before we get to that report, as always, we got a questions for you Bengals fans to answer in the comment section below. Now that we're through the draft, it's about a week behind us. We've been through most of the ringer of the offseason. What was your favorite moves that the Bengals pulled off this entire offseason? I think there's a couple ones that really jump out at me, but I'm really curious what you have to say. So let us know your favorite Bengals offseason move in the comment section below. And stay tuned to the end of today's video to hear word from our partner of today's video, and that is Neuro. They've got a great product that gives you a fast and easy energy boost. We both love it to use before the podcast. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of today's video to learn more about this product, Neuro, and a special discount code. Right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Cincinnati?
Yeah, Nick. So the Bengals, we all know them for their elite wide receiver core, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. But, sometimes you have to get that fourth guy in there. And who's going to be the fourth guy? Or even potentially, who's going to be the third guy that eventually replaces Tyler Boyd? Because he is getting up there. He's about 28 right now. He's been in the league since 2016. He's got a lot of miles on him. Still a good player, but, inevitably, I think he will need to be replaced. And I think the Bengals have a very good option they picked up in the fourth round. I'm going to bring up the article here now. Bengals picked Purdue wide receiver Charlie Jones in the fourth round, 131st overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. The 24-year-old was dominant for the Boilermakers last season, hauling in 110 receptions for 1,361 yards and 12 touchdowns. Extremely productive in college, Nick. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah said it was his favorite selection of Cincinnati's 8 total picks. He's got big time juice, Jeremiah said on Move the Sticks podcast. Every year there's a guy like this where you're watching other players and this guy just pops. You're watching these other corners, and I'm like, dang, Charlie Jones is running by all of these Big Ten corners. He was someone I thought was very interesting, and the value in the fourth round at pick 131, that is insane value, Nick. So I really like this pick from the Bengals, especially because there's a few things that we like to talk about. We like guys that are more productive over guys that maybe are like stat combine freaks. But this guy seems to be both. He's pretty quick, Nick. He runs a 4.4 40. And he jumped off the scene last year. He became insanely productive in college. So I now ask you, Nick, what do you think about this pickup late in the fourth, Charlie Jones to the Bengals?
So this is just another example of excellent roster building by what the Bengals have done this last offseason. And you kind of hinted at it already, Miles, talking about the Tyler Boyd situation. And we all know with the Joe Burrow contract eventually coming around, the Jamar Chase contract eventually coming around, the T. Higgins contract eventually coming around, Tyler Boyd is likely the odd man out in that scenario. And that's nothing against Tyler Boyd. I know Bengals fans are like, we love him. He's a great player. And he is a really good player. But when you only have so much salary cap space and a big chunk of that pie's got to go to Burrow, a big chunk of that pie's got to go to Chase, and a big chunk of that's got to go to Higgins, Tyler Boyd's going to be the odd man out. Like you said, Mike, that's just the reality of the situation. That's why picking up a guy to replace Tyler Boyd at this time is absolutely brilliant, because Tyler Boyd is actually going into the 2023 campaign, the last year of his contract. So he is a free agent off the books going into next season after the 2023 campaign. So that means you have this entire year to figure out what you've got in Jones, see what he can do in this offense, get him acclimated, get him reps with the other receivers, get him reps with Burrow. Obviously, I think he'll play some key roles in certain situations this season, but I really think this is a really smart move, because I think going into 2024, this guy, Jones, has got to Purdue, will be the Bengals' number 3 wide receiver. And look, it just makes sense. You look at good teams that have sustained their success the past decade plus in the NFL. You look at the Patriots, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. These are guys who have always been willing to let guys go, let them test the market, guys who aren't their key guys. And as much as Bengals fans, I know you guys love Tyler Boyd, he is not the stir that stirs the drink. We know that's Burrow. We know that's Jamar Chase. You just need a quality number 3 option. And I think if and when Tyler Boyd leaves, Jones is the perfect guy to step in and fill that role.
Yeah, Nick, I think this guy is going to be really special. And I really like the fact the Bengals keep their eyes open for guys that kind of slip under the radar. They're trying to, like you brought up, they have all of these massive contracts coming in. They've got Chase, they've got Burrow, they've got Higgins. So you kind of got to take shots in the lower rounds on some wide receivers people don't see. That is especially prevalent with a guy like Charlie Jones. You then again see it again later after that with Andre Yosivas from Princeton, who I also really liked as well. So they're just getting hits on the wide receiver position later in the rounds, but they're getting guys. They're not just taking wild shots. These are guys who have the stats on paper, who are athletic freaks. They are able to put up a lot of big numbers in college, but, maybe it's like a guy like Jones who only had one really productive year in college. He was pretty mediocre stat-wise at best in that first year at Purdue. He's only putting up 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, nothing to jump off the page, but in that 2022 campaign, he just popped off. Is it, an anomaly? Is it his new norm? I think it's the second, but you never know. But I like the Bengals going after and taking a chance trying to fill that wide receiver position on the cheap.
And one more thing, they fill it before it becomes an issue, right? The one situation you don't want to be in, especially if you're a contending team like the Bengals, is you go into an offseason and suddenly you have a big hole. You're like, who's going to be our number 3 wide receiver? You want to be proactive and kind of have some solutions ready when that situation comes. You don't want to have to be reactive because that's when teams make mistakes. So not only did the Bengals find a lot of value in Jones, they did it ahead of schedule, which again is just another sign of really strong roster management. All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big time game winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.